Hey guys, it's Ellen Brock, novel editor. Today I'm going to talk about editing your novel, the 2 tools that I like to use when I work with clients that just make the editing process easier. Now, there's not just one correct way to edit a novel. Any way that works for you is perfectly fine. I just want to talk about what works for me, what I see working with clients, and what I see as the most efficient way to go about the editing process. I know a lot of writers struggle with efficiency with editing, or they don't know where to start, and editing can be really daunting. So I'm going to go through how I go about the editing process, so hopefully that helps you. So the type of editing I'm talking about in this video is developmental editing or big picture editing. I always recommend that you start with the big picture. Fiddling around with word choices or the particulars of how you organize scenes or paragraphs is not the best way to start, because what you want to do is start with the best possible structure and framework and then move into smaller and smaller details. So I recommend 2 different tools for the editing process. The first is an outline and the second is a plan for revision. The outline does not need to be created in advance. If you like to fly by the seat of your pants and you don't like plotting your novel, that's no problem. You don't have to create the outline in advance. So at this point in the editing process, the outline is just a way to see the plot in an easy and clear way, and it's a tool that you can use to help move around scenes or determine which scenes to cut or change without needing to read the entire book, because that can get distracting. You can get tied up in word changes or reorganizing paragraphs or changing descriptions, and we don't want to get into any of that at this stage. We want to just look at the plot and the structure of the story. And so I recommend that you keep your outline very basic and very simple, so that you list scene 1 and then 1 or 2 sentences, scene 2, 1 or 2 sentences. It doesn't need to be complicated. We just need to know what the character was trying to achieve, the conflict, and then what came out of that scene. Now, this is a pretty tedious process. It's not particularly entertaining to make one of these outlines, but it can really help to streamline your editing process, and it can save you a ton of time later. So the second tool that I recommend is a plan for revision. Now, this is super simple. It's just a document that you will list out all the problems that you're trying to solve. I recommend using stronger organization, such as like subheadings and categories, just to keep yourself more organized. So maybe you have characters and then you list out every individual character, and then maybe under those characters you might list out minor problems like issues with dialogue or the character arc. And this can help to keep all of the ideas organized. So when you first create your plan for revision, I recommend that you immediately, before you even start looking at the outline or considering rearranging scenes, that you just list out all the problems that you're aware of, all the things that just come immediately to your mind. These might be things that other people pointed out to you if you had any beta readers or any critique partners, or they might just be things that you're not happy with. So for example, maybe you feel like the emotions aren't hitting, or maybe the dialogue isn't very engaging. Maybe you changed your mind about the character arc, so you know you need to clean that up. Just everything that comes to mind that you know is a problem with the big picture. So don't get caught up in word choices or nitty-gritty sort of organization of paragraphs, or I don't like my writing voice or anything like that. We're talking about just focusing on the big pictures, the character, the plot, the pacing, plot holes, world building, things that are not about the writing style or technique. So once you have all the problems listed out, I recommend that you then list all the possible solutions under each category. So for example, maybe you have character arc as a category, and beneath that you have a brief explanation. Maybe you started out with the character arc focused on the character overcoming guilt, but partway through the character started overcoming their insecurities instead. So maybe you just have a brief sentence like, need to choose guilt or insecurity based character arc. And then beneath that you could do the possible solutions. So maybe guilt based character arc and insecurity based character arc as your 2 possible solutions. When you do this with every different issue that you're aware of, you'll start to get a sense of where the solutions overlap and where the solutions will take you in a different direction. So for example, if you decide that you want to change the character arc so that it's not about guilt anymore, maybe the backstory of that character is now irrelevant or doesn't suit the novel and you want to take that out. So then you need to add to your revision plan backstory, change the backstory, possible solutions, alternate backstories. Then you might realize that that's going to impact some conversations that the character had or some ways that they related to other characters. So then you'll need to add that to your plan. And this is what makes editing so complicated, because everything that you change in your novel basically creates a disaster somewhere else. So part of why I recommend a revision plan is just so that you can wrap your mind around all of this and you can get a sense of how you want to solve the problems and how those solutions are going to impact all of the other solutions or all the other problems or create new problems. Once you have your revision plan basically figured out, that's when I would turn towards the outline and then start to look for problems in the outline. I'm going to make a separate video to go over potential issues that you might find in the outline, how you can determine which scenes to cut or change or alter. This video is part of my novel bootcamp series. I only have 2 videos left in this series. I will try not to disappear on you guys after that. I know I have a tendency to do that. I get really busy. I have so many edits that I do in a year and it gets really, really chaotic. But I'll do my best to make more videos for you guys. Always let me know what videos you're interested in the comments so that I can make sure that when I do come back, I'm giving you guys the information that you want. Happy writing, guys.